Okay, so I just uploaded a video where I created this in Blender and Substance Painter. So all I want to do is take this into Ventuz. It's gonna be a short video. I'll show you how to do it and use it with, like, say, particle system as well. But all I'm doing is I've exported it as a GLTF file, create a new empty scene, and you can do is drag and drop it into your scene. Boom, works straight out of the box. I'm going to just delete this extra axis and this geometry import node. We don't need it now because it's imported. You may notice that I haven't applied my transformation settings. So now if I was to reset this, you see the model is not now how it's supposed to look, or something like this. But I can rotate these. So I did forget to So you can see I did forget to apply the transformations. So if you do that, so you can see here, make sure you just Control A, select apply all transformations or apply scale rotation, whatever you want to apply, you can choose. Make sure you apply that. If you're using something like Maya, you go to freeze transformations. Yeah, every software's got a different thing, but yeah, they all work similar. You just apply that transformation, so you don't have to run into this issue. Anyway, let's apply some HDR lighting to this. So let's change the engine to HDR, and let's go into the colors and let's use the PBR box. I'm gonna right click and choose the studio one. Let's just use the studio one. You can see, it starts to light up. I'm gonna just say uncheck the enable so it's not visible in the background. And then you can see if I change the rotation, you can see how it's affecting it. Or I can rotate the object itself. Let's also drop in a light. Really straightforward. PBR light. I'm going to use the PBR directional. I'm going to place that in front. I'm going to turn shadow map on, and then I'll just drop down and change the yaw, and then we can see the shadows here appear. Pretty straightforward. If that's all you're looking for, very straightforward getting your mesh and materials in Ventuz. I do recommend exporting as a GLTF file. Also, bake if you're not having moving parts and it's just one solid object like this. This is one object. So what I've done is merged my baked maps into one. So I combined all the different pieces of the mesh. So even though these are, if I was to go, I'll show you the model itself. So if I was to say select this whole model and just say separate by selection, I'll say tab. There we go. Oh, I don't want everything. I just want that. There we go. Separate by loose parts. So these are all loose parts. So if you'll see, okay, I want to animate these two, so pulling out the ring is one, or this is a separate part, or whatever it is you want to animate, then don't merge them and bake them separately. If you're going to merge them, then yeah, combine it, bake it down into one map. So yeah, depends on what you're using it for, your use case. Okay, pretty straightforward there. Or you can go straight into from Substance Painter. Ventuz does accept Substance Painter materials, so you could just use that as well. And then you have options to tweak those materials as well with the Substance materials, which is cool. So I explore that. I definitely recommend you do that. Have a play, even if it's just to see what it does. Anyway, but there you go. That's pretty straightforward. Anyway, let's get this into like a particle system. So I'm gonna just add another axis in here. Boop. And we're going to go geometry, and we're going to say particle system, right? I'm just drag a particle system. We're going to add some modules. So let's use a grid, and we want a mesh. So I'm going to have a grid and a mesh. I'll just block this for now, so just so that you can see what's going on. I'll just uncheck the code there. Now if I rotate it, you can see we have a grid here for one mesh, and we can do is spread these out by changing the X and Y on the size. There we go. And this mesh here, what we want to do is change it to this grenade, right? So what we're going to do is mesh loader. Now you can go and browse for that file the same way you import it. Like once it's imported into your project, you could use this file here, or the other ways I can link these two together. So I could just actually just drag this file and say, okay, use this model here. Entirely up to you. You don't have to do it like that. Like I said, you can see now it's got the file path already in there. I could disconnect that, or I could have went here and browse for any type of mesh. So if I wanted it to be this magnifying glass, for example, now it's a magnifying glass. So there's no so this should be the last one. Yeah, so that's the last, that was this last object here. But yeah, there you go. So you can use it like that too. Now you may notice that it doesn't have the materials, and also because it doesn't have the applied scale, this scale here, this 1.35, we need to apply that to the mesh. So if we go to the object under transform 3D, and you can fix it in here. But remember, if you do, I mean, now it looks like how it's supposed to look, but if you do apply the transformation here, and you wouldn't need to do this extra step, which I've done just because I forgot. But you might have, this is something might come across. Now materials, now we want a material on here, so you can see set to none. What I can do is just actually drag this material in front, the baked material that from this object that we imported in, and just apply it there, and it will automatically inherit this material onto the mesh, which is perfect. As you can see, it's all lit up, and we can expand. We can have more if you want. You can have as many as you want, or as many as your machine can handle, should I say? But which is a lot, which is brilliant. But yeah, maybe not 16,000, but I mean you can. But okay, it's a lot to space out. But you can see it does handle it pretty well. But yeah, I don't think anyone needs that many. Anyway, let's not be silly. No one needs that many. Let's say there. Let's do something like this. This will be fine. And let's space this out. So we could just make, say you want to make a background or backdrop, animate backdrop of these objects, just slowly rotating. Yeah, like I said, it's a short video, nothing fancy. I just haven't done a video in a while. So I'm going to use, I want to use the axis by angle. I also want to use, let's use some curl noise. Let's use a simulation, and now it will start to do crazy stuff like this. Let's add a brake, so accelerate, so we can brake that and slow it down too. You can see you get less movement there with the brake. And then if we go to the axis, and then we can choose what axis to rotate these on. So if I increase that value and random speed. Actually, we don't want too much, but yeah, there you go. And I can change it on the Z. You can change random amount if you want. You can go crazy with that, but just we just want really, we don't want it too much. But there we go. You got you have a animated background of objects just kind of moving around. So there you go. Like I said, it's nothing fancy, but if you wanted to make quick backgrounds, that look complicated, you can do that. And then of course you could, boop, let's get a rounded rectangle. Say this was, yeah. Oh, so is cast. They do cast shadows. Just kind of cool. It doesn't need to be a rounded rectangle, be whatever you want. Oh, so I was just surprised that, I guess you can't see this. I guess they don't self shadow. They're not self shadowing, but they do cast shadows. Okay, so that's cool. That's good to know. Whoops. There we go. You can drop a material on this. Let's just put a material on here. Let's place it behind. Let's drop a color. I don't know. Color. Of course, I don't want it to be base color. I want it. What happens if I set no light? Will receive nothing. Let's do PBR. And bring that roughness up. The shadow quality is really low. Is that because of the mesh itself? The tessellation on the mesh that increase in that? Nah, it must be the shadow map then. Because how comes the shadow looked so sharp earlier? Oh, I'm gonna question everything. There we go. Increase the resolution on the shadow to 4K. But yeah, there you go. You can see it there working. But yeah, of course, move that background a bit. We can move the light. Yeah, I like it though. Yeah, I like it. Very simple. Like I said, nothing fancy. It's not the best graphic in the world, but you know, you can play around with that. With your light, rotate these. You can even add another light in here if you want. Let's get a light. Let's use a point light. Where is it? Let's make it. Let's increase that gain so we can see it. There it is. There. You can increase that range. Let's change the color. Give it a different color. There we go. Can play around with that. There's no laws or rules on what you do. We can kind of. Should we just put that on the mover and just have it moving up at the like left to right? Yeah, let's just do that. So is it the x-axis? Yeah, there's the x-axis. Let's just go linear 1. Pop out that mover. Set that to swing. Let's say -2 to 2. Have we got enough movement there? Maybe 3. Okay, we're gonna make it a bit further. Slow it down. There we go. Let's add another mover. I know I'm being a bit extra, sorry. But let's go, I'm going to just go mover, hit spacebar, search for mover. I want a HSV to color. Now we know it's 0 to 360, so let's do 0 to 360. Just turn off the swing. Drop that on there. Drop this color on here. Increase this, change the speed. Now the light will change color over time. We've got some crazy grenade over there. Maybe you don't want that in your face, but maybe you do. Depends on what you want. But you have a backdrop. There you go. You have a, you know, simple 3D backdrop. Of course, you can apply more. You know, you don't. What I've applied here, you can change these. You don't need to use this. If you don't want the curl, you can get rid of that curl, for example. It's entirely up to you. Of course, you can play around with all the settings too. There's no rules. Speed it up, like I said. Slow it down. You can change the amount. There we go. That's a bit more subtle. Yeah, and just keep on adding more stuff if you want. Experiment, see what it does. Oh, they'll be like, oh, I want to try a force, and then see what the force does. So if I was to take that force and say transformation, let's turn this cone on, and amplify this to see what happens. I don't know. It may not work. It may work. Is that range mode working? It might have to be. Oh, the order's wrong. There we go. Now I'm drawing them all in, but now if I move this around, you know, I've got some crazy. Whoa, what the heck have I created? But yeah, maybe the force is too strong. The force is strong. But can we go the other way? I'm trying to make it push them out to separate. Well, yeah, you get the idea. There we go. Oh, actually, there you go. There we go. Actually, just a little bit. We don't want a tiny bit. There you go. So you could actually have the light following that, pushing it out, or drawing it in, like I said. There you go. Entirely up to you. I'm gonna get rid of that force. There we go. Anyway, hopefully, I mean, it's something. It's better than nothing, I guess, isn't it? A short touch. 90 or 0. There we go. And then, of course, you got your post effects. Don't forget, you got post effects and stuff you can apply to your layers. Uh, you know, effects. I'm gonna just use the lens. Let's try a kaleidoscope. See what it does. You know, making some kind of trippy effect. Maybe swirl. Maybe it's too many segments. But yeah. That looks cool though. You can make really cool abstract backgrounds. Um, you know, really simple ones. I kind of don't like the blue, so if I said, oh, well, I don't like the blue on that, you know, I can change that to a different color. Red, green, orange, whatever you want. Entirely up to you. I went back to blue. Eh. But I said, yeah, try different effects, different ones. Like I said, there's no law in what you're doing. Boop. There we go. And maybe we can turn this one on. This can be our center point. Maybe this is our center one, you know. So this is our center object, main focus. And this is, you know, just background stuff. But you can see. And I had the light, that little point light that's moving back and forth is affecting that. Maybe this, we apply a texture, you know, maybe we apply a gradient to this base. We just do gradient. Change that to white. I'll just change 2D mapping UV0 so I can move this gradient around. There we go. But yeah, have fun. Hopefully that was useful. Maybe it's not useful. I don't know. Bye bye. But if you do want to follow how I made the model or created it and prepped it and textured it, I think I covered UV mapping, texturing, and you know, and then this is the rest of it. You can take it into whatever engine you want. Bye bye.